Sabbatean mafia plans to stage nuclear terror, blame North Korea. Posted by Benjamin. April 8, 2013. The Sabbatean mafia that illegally seized control in the West is planning to stage nuclear terror attacks and blame them on North Korea, intelligence agency sources say. Google chief Eric Schmidt and basketball star Dennis Rodman recently visited North Korea as envoys of U.S. President Barack Obama, MI6 and Japan-based North Korean sources say. Shortly after Schmidt's visit to North Korea, there was an attack on South Korean banking and media websites that was originally blamed on North Korea and China turns out to have originated in the U.S., most likely courtesy of Google. The visits were aimed at encouraging North Korea to make nuclear provocations so that it could later be plausibly blamed for nuclear terrorist attacks carried out by the Sabbatean mafia, the sources say. To underscore this, the Mossad-linked website debka.com had an article last week that basically threatened a North Korean nuclear terror attack unless Israeli interests were served. http://www.debka.com/article/22879/. Here is, in part, is what it said. So long as the Obama administration sticks to its current separate policies on Syria and Iran and Korea, Moscow and Beijing won't lift a finger to apply the brakes to Kim Jong-un before he drives the world to catastrophe. This is not even a fig leaf of plausible deniability. Why would North Korea risk nuclear annihilation to serve Israeli interests? Both the official North Korean news service and the Pentagon are dialing back tensions even as the Zionist media continues its hysterical campaign to demonize North Korea. The fact of the matter is that two Sabbatean Zionist Nazi submarines have been sent to carry out nuclear terror attacks to protect Zionist fascist rule of the West. The Navy intelligence information disinformation site Sorkafile says the submarines are likely to attack either Yokohama, i.e. the U.S. Yokota Naval Base in Yokohama, Japan, Busan in South Korea, Portland, Oregon or Los Angeles. http://www.whatdoesitmean.com/ Nobody will be fooled though, and the Gnostic Illuminati are promising the retaliatory attack against Jerusalem if the Sabbateans tried to pull off another nuclear terror attack. A South Korean government official also said his government knows North Korea is not planning any attack. The same cabal is spreading bioweapons in China, dumping nuclear waste in Japan and threatening to trigger an earthquake in California in a sign of vicious desperation. The desperation is being triggered by an international dragnet that is closing in on them from all directions. The attacks against the cabal are being carried out by multiple intelligence and police agencies using various covers. For example, the U.S. agency-backed hacker group Anonymous has hacked Israeli's database and found the names of 30,000 Mossad agents around the world. These names have been forwarded to the relevant authorities. Anonymous has also announced an attack on Israel's web presence. The other big agency attack against the Sabbateans took the form of a release by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists of the names of holders of offshore bank accounts worth $32 trillion, over twice the U.S. GDP. Before the website was taken down and put up again in sanitized form, it released the details of accounts held by people like Barack Obama, Tony Blair, the governor of the Bank of England, Hillary Clinton, etc. For example, the Obama offshore account totals $30 billion and is held under the name Henry Ansbacher. Another attack was the release by WikiLeaks of millions of documents linked to arch-Kabbalist Henry Kissinger, including such juicy Kissinger quotes as, "The illegal we do overnight, the unconstitutional takes longer." The financial attack on the cabal is also intensifying. The widely reported physical gold shortages, such as the lineups at gold outlets in Thailand, are being caused by Kabbalists desperately trying to use their fiat paper currencies to buy physical gold. In the case of Thailand, The Saudi royal family and their buddies the Bushes are working with Japanese crime syndicates to buy Thai and Persian royal family gold. The wife of the prime minister of a major Asian country even phoned this writer last week to ask where gold could be found. Hong Kong, Switzerland and Indonesia was my best guesstimate answer. In Japan, the big monetary easing announced by the Bank of Japan last week is actually a massive move to protect Goldman Sachs and the Rockefellers, according to the executive of a Japanese securities company. Goldman Sachs is in severe trouble in South Korea, Japan and elsewhere and is using yen in a desperate move to keep itself afloat, he said. The entire South Korean financial system is controlled by Goldman Sachs and it is imploding under bad debt, he said. A South Korean government official denied this. However, a White Dragon Foundation delegation to Seoul was recently shown photographs of large amounts of gold for sale supposedly held at a secret location in South Korea. However, the South Korean side, including representatives of the 6 largest conglomerates and the South Korean government, were unable to provide a photograph of a recent newspaper being held in front of the gold. There is also a desperate move by North and South Koreans in Japan to liquidate their yen holdings and either buy South Korean won or gold before their money is confiscated by the Japanese tax authorities, the executive said. The Japanese monetary easing and the attempts to grab Korean assets are a sign of desperation by Kabbalist stooges in the Japanese political scene who see their Sabbatean bosses being pulled down above their heads. Until this battle is finally over and the cabal is dealt with, the world faces real risks of another major terror attack. Asked for his reaction to the ongoing takedown of the cabal, a senior member of the fascist P2 Freemason Lodge said, "Take a look at the radiation in Fukushima and the flu in China." He then continued, "Millions will die in America on the West Coast. Here is a counter-prediction. Thousands will be arrested or killed until the cabal surrenders."